What's going on, my family? I hope all y'all doing good out there. I'm gonna jump right in, get right to the point. This message is mainly for those who are believers. You know, getting Christians or getting people to turn to Christ. That's every Christian's job, but that's not really my expert area. All I can tell you is that if you don't know Jesus, it's time to get to know him. But for the rest of us who do, and the rest of us who believe, if y'all remember, if y'all remember when Corona first started, there was a feeling of fear in the air. There was a feeling of fear, and it was everywhere. And it seemed like the media was pushing it. It was just nothing but fear. For those who are prayer warriors, people who spend time in prayer, who talk to God, I'm not, I can only use myself as an example. Me, my kids, we all talk to God for at least an hour a day. When you spend time talking to God, you have to remember God is a spirit. So when you spend time talking to God, you become more like him. You start to sense things in the spiritual world that you normally would not sense. The more time you spend with God, the more time you start to pick up on spiritual things because you're becoming more one with your spirit than with your flesh. You can just sense it. That's I'm not gonna go deep into that. But for all y'all who pray or who spend time talking to God, you may have noticed that there's a feeling of distraction. I've talked to many Christians who spend time with God, who spend time in prayer with God, and they all have said it is becoming distracting when they pray. Your mind is going somewhere else whenever you're trying to talk to God. Your There's also anger involved, a lot of frustration, and it's been going on the last few weeks. When Corona came, there was a spirit of fear in this world. Now there seems to be a spirit of chaos in this world. So my message is to the believers: don't feel like you doing something wrong. Don't feel like God is leaving you because you're spending time with God. It makes it easier for you to sense this evil, this spirit that's in the air right now. I learned it today, and God confirmed it so many times. There is a huge spirit of chaos out there, and it's causing a spiritual distraction. I'm gonna give you an example. I went to Honda today to get an oil change. I went to the dealership to get an oil change. Do you know these boys did not even know how to open up my hood? They came and got me and said, your hood is broke. That's just how distracted they was. They didn't even realize they looking at the little box where the fuses go in, seeing that the cover wasn't on there. They thought that's where the handle was supposed to be and that it was broken off. Then after that, they called me back there again. Oh, your battery is bad. Sir, I just bought this battery 4 months ago. I called the manager. Listen, first, before I called the manager, the guy I was talking to, he was like, maybe they made a mistake. So that's when I called the manager. I was like, listen, first your boys didn't know how to open my hood up. Now this guy's telling me that they may not know how to test the battery. So he went back there, checked it out, came back, said everything was fine. There's a spirit of distraction going on. Once this left off of me today, I took my son home. This thing that's been going on in the world, all this protesting, started right when I moved into my new house. The night I moved in here was the same night they started protesting on Seagan Lane. I used to live on Seagan Lane, so that's how I know. Because me and my girl, my wife was like, you know what? We moved out the right time. I got a son who has a different mom from the rest of my kids. I bring him to his mom every other week. When I went to take him home today, I kept thinking we was on the wrong road, because the road that we've been driving on, I've been so distracted that I never really noticed what it looked like to drive all the way down O'Neal Lane. I've never really driven all the way down O'Neal Lane before we moved over here. So for weeks now, I've been taking him home along this road. Hear what I'm saying? But today, when this distraction lifted off of me, I thought I was on a whole new road, because I had never really noticed this road before, even though I've been taking my son home on this road for weeks now. So my message is this: now is the time for us to get closer to Jesus. If you don't want to know God and you haven't known God all this time, there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry for that noise in the background, y'all. That's my fish tank. But there's nothing I can tell you if you don't want to get to know God at this point. I've made several videos requesting that you get to know Jesus, that you just talk to him for a few minutes and see if he's real. If you don't want to do that at this point, that's on you. But for those of you who do know Jesus, this is my area of this is my area where I'm qualified. My area is to teach. So it's better to teach those. It's easier to teach those who want to learn. It's the time now to get closer to Jesus. We need to start spending more time in our prayer. We got to. Me, you, all of us. We have to start spending more time in our prayer. In Psalm 91, it says, basically, if you stay in your secret place, that you start to abide. You start to abide in you start to abide by God's will. I believe that's what it says. And then I don't remember the exact words, but it's Psalm 91. It says, it's basically saying that if you stay in God's secret place, if you dwell in the secret place, if you spend a lot of time talking to God, you begin to act more holy. You begin to start walking in his will. You begin to change. You begin to be like him. I believe it's in, I can't remember what the other verse said. I'm not good remembering verses. But there's another verse that talks about being in your secret place. All you gotta do is Google, what does the Bible say about your secret place? There's another passage in the Bible that says God will protect those who stay in their secret place. He will protect them from the accusations of men, and he will protect them from something else. But I know it basically says that God will protect you from the things that people say about you. Just like the Bible says, if God feeds the birds every day, what more will he do for us because we're so much more important. If God will protect you from the things that people say about you, what you think He gonna do about the big things? Sickness, pain, death. I mean, we have to get closer to Him at this point in time, because right now, I believe tribulation has already started. That's what I believe. When Jesus talks about tribulation, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I believe He talks about it in three of them. When He talks about tribulation, He says that when tribulation comes, it's going to be the greatest tribulation that the world has ever seen and that the world will ever see. He also says, you got to look through these scriptures. It says there will be pestilences and there will be lawlessness. Those are just two of the things He said going to happen. And that's what's been going on right now. And it's affecting the whole world. He says these things are the beginning of sorrows. He says these things are the beginning of labor pains. This is tribulation that we in right now. It has begun. So for all you preachers out there that keep saying God is going to come back before tribulation, Jesus is going to come back before tribulation started, I'm sorry, but tribulation has already started. My pastor pointed out to me, at least that's what I believe. I believe it's already started. Now, I could be wrong. And I hope I am, because like my pastor, for one, believes that Jesus is supposed to get us before tribulation started. But what he also pointed out to me, and that I forgot about, is that there are going to be two resurrections. But I believe the first resurrection already occurred. The Bible says, blessed are those who take part in the first resurrection. Well, I don't know though. I don't know. When Jesus went up to heaven, I believe He took the dead with Him. Those who had already died and who were in hell. But hopefully I'm wrong. But right now, it's time for us to get closer. It's time for us to get closer to God. It's time for us to start spending more time in prayer. That's the only way we're going to get closer to Him right now, is if we spend time in prayer. That's the only way to get closer to Him, period. You have to get to know Him. Jesus says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Those who love me will keep my commandments. You cannot fall in love with somebody unless you get to know them. You cannot get to know them unless you spend time with them. So we got to start spending more time with Jesus. That's the message. That is the message. We need to start spending more time in prayer, talking to Jesus, talking to God. You can't get to God unless you go through Jesus. God don't mind if you spend your whole prayer talking to Jesus. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God that He gave Him to us. But spend more time in prayer. That is the message. Spend more time in prayer. We got it going. We got it wrong. We got it wrong. Black folks out here marching, talking about we finna change stuff and this and that and the other. You can tear down all these statues. You can tear down all these flags. It's not going to change what's in a person's heart. It's not going to change that. The only way to change anything, if anything is going to be changed, is to spend more time with Jesus. That's all I got for y'all. Went a little long, but I love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. Man, be blessed.